Okay, section 1.3, solving equations with variables on both sides. Steps, combine like terms, add or subtract variables, terms to get them on one side. Use properties of equality. What I mean by that, add or subtract or divide, multiply on both sides, and then check. So for example, on this side of the equation, I can combine 15 plus 15. This is just an example, which gives me 30, correct? Equals negative 2x plus 7. Okay, notice on this side, I can't combine those two, can I? And on this side, I can't combine those two. So I've done absolutely no solving. All I've done is simplify. That's step one. Combine, simplify is the same thing. I like to get all my variables on one side. So I'm going to add 2x to get it to the left side. You don't always have to do that, but I like to do that. So that gives me 8x plus 30 equals 7. So then it says, use properties of equality to isolate the variable. That's what I'm doing now. Properties of equality. Equality means equal sign. Okay? And then what am I going to do next? I need to get my numbers where? On the other side, agreed? So Gavin, what would I do to get the 30 to the other side?
Minus 30.
Subtract, very good. So I'm using what's called subtraction property of equality to get 30 to the other side. So that gives me 8x equals negative 30. And then what would I do next? I used division property of equality. Why did I say equality? Because there's an equal sign. So I'm dividing both sides by 8. That's division property of equality. Equality means equal sign. So that gives me 8x, or x equals negative 30 divided by 8. So somebody in your calculator take negative 30 divided by 8 and tell me what you get. What'd you get as a decimal?
Negative 3.75.
Negative 3.75.
Yep.
Okay, now go math fraction. Hit math, then fraction. Everybody ought to have to be using the calculator so you know how to use it. So what do you get when you hit math fraction? Henry, what'd you get when you took negative 3.75 and changed it back to a fraction?
Negative 15 over 4.
Negative 15 over 4. We started with negative 30 over 8, but when you change it to a decimal, then change it back to a fraction, what's the difference between those two? We got negative 30 over 8, negative 15 over 4. What's the difference? Anybody know? Pardon me?
25.
Yeah, we reduced this fraction. We divided both of them by 2. Okay? Right? We reduced it. And that's what's nice about your calculator. You can change it to a decimal, then hit math fraction, and it'll reduce it for you. Does that make sense? That's pretty nice. Okay? Okay, don't worry about this. Turn the page. Okay, example A. Can I do any simplifying on this right side? Can I combine any like terms? No. So I like to do my x's always first. That's just me, and you'll see why later, okay? So, Miles, how am I going to get this negative 2x to the other side? How am I going to get that over there?
Add it.
Add it, correct? Add 2x. Does anybody know what the property of equality is here? What did I do to both sides? I added, so it would be called the addition property of equality, correct? Because I did the same thing on both sides of that equal sign, didn't I? Correct? So that gives me 6x equals 9. Okay? And then what am I going to do next here, Callie?
Divide by 6.
Divide by 6, thank you. So I get x equals 9 over 6. Now take 9 divided by 6 and tell me what you get. Yeah.
1.5.
1.5? Is that correct? Yep. Then hit math fraction and tell me what you get. You get 3 over 2. So it reduced it, didn't it? I had divided a 3 out of the top and a 3 out of the bottom. Does everybody see? Change it to a decimal if you can, and then hit math fraction, and it brings it back reduced. That is a nice little skill there, isn't it? Correct? You should always write fractions in simplified form, like 3/2. Okay, letter B. Letter B. What have we learned about these fractions when you have one fraction? Mac, what do we want to do when we get rid of those fractions, that one fraction? What are we going to do to everything?
I don't know.
Okay, there's only one fraction, right? So what did I teach you to do? Multiply everything by what? By the bottom number, if there's one fraction. So I'm going to multiply everything by what? 2. To get rid of the fractions, or at least simplify, right? So I got to multiply here, here, and here. So what's 2 times 1/2? What's half of 2, kids? 1. So I get 1 in, right? What's 2 times negative 2 in? Negative 4 in. And what's 2 times 6? 12. Does that look a little easier? Okay. So now, Ava, what am I going to do now to get it, to get all the ends on one side?
Add 4 to both sides.
Add 4 what? 4 in, right? Yeah. 4 is different than 4 in. Those cancel. So what's that give me on the left side, Callie? 5 in. I got 1 nickel, and we add 4 nickels to it. And we got 12. Okay, then, James, what are we going to do next?
You divide it by 5.
Very good. Nice job. Okay, now take 12 divided by 5, and what do you get? 2 point what? 2.4. Okay, now change it. Hit 2.4, hit math fraction, and tell me what you get. It doesn't reduce, does it? How do I know it doesn't reduce? Because there's not a number that goes into both of them, is there? Other than 1. Agreed? So you could write it either way. When can you write it as a decimal in this class? When can you write it as a decimal? Colton, what's your question?
What's the math fraction?
Hit math, number 1. Bring it here, bud. Bring it here. I'll show you. Bring it here. That's why I make the big loop. Okay, on that? Okay, look at C. This one's a little different. So, Sean, what do I want to do here first? Can I simplify either side? No, I can't combine 2m to 9 or negative 2m to negative 7. So there's no simplification here, is there? Correct? All right. So then, Caleb, what would you do here? I want to get the m's on the left side. So what am I going to do?
Plus 2.
Plus 2 what? M. 2 and 2m are different. 2's a constant, correct? So which one you want to move? This one over here or that one over there? You want to move this one over here?
Yep.
What did I say to do? I would always bring the m's to the left side. I mean, raise your hand if you remember me saying that. You don't have to. I just like to do it that way. Okay, so how am I going to get this 2m over there? Minus 2m. Okay? Cancel. Cancel. What's negative 2m minus 2m give me, Simon?
Negative 4.
Negative 4 what?
M.
M. And then we have 9, correct? So, Aaliyah, what are we going to do next? Did I say it right?
And then divide 4.
Divide what?
4.
Divide both sides. 4 and negative 4 are different numbers. So negative 4 or 4. There you go. So I have when you have a positive over negative, you just make the whole thing negative. Now take 9 divided by 4 and tell me what you get. Caleb, got a question?
You forget the 7.
Well, we forgot something, didn't we? Wow. Mr. Campbell needs to wake up. So right now we have this, don't we? Sorry about that. Is that correct? Is that better?
Yeah.
So then what would we do next? Let's see here. Who should I call on? Zamir, what are we going to do next? Divide it? Add 7. Correct? We got to get the m by itself. We got to get it isolated first, correct? So it gives me negative 4m equals what? 16? And then what am I going to do? Morgan, what am I going to do last?
Divide.
Divide by what?
-4.
Perfect. So what's m equal to? Negative 4, right? Positive 16 divided by negative 4 is negative 4. And you can, does everybody know how to check it? Correct? Plug it back in and check it, use evaluation. Okay, the next one here. What are we going to do next on this one here to solve it? Mac, what are we going to do here to solve this one? Can we do any combining like terms on number letter B?
Yeah.
We can? What can we combine?
Well, I don't know.
Can we add these two together?
Yeah.
We can. What's negative 2g plus 6 give me? Huh?
4g.
That's got a variable, and that's a constant. You can't add those two together, just like you can't add those two together. That would have to have a g for you to be able to add them together, correct? So everything's simplified, isn't it? Okay, so Caleb, what would you do here to solve this?
Add 2g to
Very good. Add 2g to both sides. So that gives me cancel, 6. And what's negative 8 plus 2 give me? It's at negative 8 degrees and it goes up 2. What would that give me, Sean? Very, very good. Negative 6g plus I have that negative 10. So anybody, that's called the property, addition property of equality. Why is it equality? Because we have an equal sign. We added the same thing to both sides. Does that make sense? If I subtract to both sides, that would be subtraction property of equality. Now what are we going to do next? Ash? Add 10 to both sides. Because we want to get all the constants, the numbers that don't have a variable, all on one side. Cancel, cancel. So I have negative 6g equals 16. And then what are we going to do next, McKinley?
Divide by -6.
Divide by -6. Okay, in your calculator, take 16 divided by -6 and tell me what you get. Yeah.
Negative 2.6 repeating.
Okay, so can we write, if it's negative 2.6 repeating, can we write it as a fraction? No. Or can we not write it as a decimal? There you go. Can't write it as a decimal, right? Because what's the decimal doing? Keeps going. So now hit math fraction, it should be reduced. So what's it give you? Does it give you negative 8/3? Does everybody see how to get negative 8/3? It reduces it for you, doesn't it? That's a nice feature, isn't it? And how did they do that? They divided both top and bottom by 2. Okay? Questions? Okay, letter E. E. So I have negative 2 times x minus 7 plus 4x equals 2x plus 9. Okay? So, Brady, what do we have to do first on this one?
We have to combine our like terms. We have to do the distributive.
Yeah, we have to distribute. When you see parentheses, you have to distribute. Okay, so I distribute there. Mac, what does that give me when I distribute that negative 2?
Negative, actually, 3.5. Well, distribute negative 2 to 7.
All right, what's negative 2 times x give me?
Oh. Negative 2x.
There you go. And then what's negative 2 times negative 7?
14.
Positive 14. Everybody listen to me. Don't blurt out the answers, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to check for understanding here. Does that make sense? And plus, it keeps people on task because they don't want to get embarrassed because they're doing something else like sleeping in class or doing anything. Okay? So what I'm going to start, what I'll start doing, I'll just have you go up to the whiteboard and do it in front of everybody. Make sense? So it raises that level of concern, doesn't it? Because you don't know if you're not going to be asked. So if you're not locked in right now, I'm going to call on you. Does that make sense? And if you don't know what you're doing, I'm here to help you. And I can't help you if I don't know that you don't know what you're doing. Does that make sense? Because right now it's kind of like a formative assessment. It's like when you go to the doctor and ask the doctor, tell him your symptoms, he or she does symptoms, correct? Oh, I've got a cold, bad cold, sore throat, I'm achy, and they take your temperature and your blood pressure, and they check your throat and everything, and maybe they take a culture or something, I don't know, and they say, oh, you've got just a virus, so there really isn't anything we can do for you, you just need to drink a lot of fluids and rest, right? Correct? So the doctor gave you some advice on how to get better. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to help you get better. But when I grade the test or the quiz next week, I can't help you then. Then I'm the coroner. It's an autopsy. You guys see the difference? Now I'm trying to help you, but when I grade the test, I really can't help you then. Does that make sense or no? Because I want to help you now. Okay. So can we combine any like terms, Zamir, on the left side? Are there any similar terms? $14. What are you going to combine 14 with on the side? Which ones have variables? These two here are similar terms because they both have an x. Now, what's negative 2x plus 4x give me?
6x.
Okay, you're at negative 2 degrees and you go up 4.
Two.
2x, not 2, but 2x, correct? But then I've also got the 14. I can't add those two together because that doesn't have an x. This is called a variable term. This is called a constant term because it doesn't have a variable with it, okay? And then we have this here. Oh, baby, this is what I wanted to do here. Okay, now I like to do the variables first. So, Caleb, I want to get this 2x over here. How do I get it over there? What do I do?
Minus 2x.
Minus 2x. And look what happens. I don't have any variables left over, do I? Correct? So when all the variables cancel out and you get the two numbers here, is 14 equal to 9? Is that a true statement? No, that is a false statement. So, no solutions, or no solution for this one. Now, your next question should be, what if they came out equal? Wouldn't that be the next question you would have for me? Correct? Yes or no? If they come out correct, then it would be infinite solutions. If these two came out to be equal, then and everything canceled out except for the constants, and that's equal, then it would be infinite solutions. Correct? Agreed? Okay. All right, F. You guys are doing a good job. I'm proud of you. I know it's hard. It's hard, especially if you stayed up watching the Chiefs game. I fell asleep. I was tired. Okay, Miles, what do I have to do first here? Ava, what do I got to do here?
You have to do the distributive property.
Okay, so distribute for me. What do I get?
-8n
What's a negative times a negative?
positive.
So it'd be 8n, right? And what's negative 8n times negative 10? Okay, stop. Don't use your calculator. Let me show you a little trick. What's 8 times 1?
8.
Add a 0. Math's knowing the tricks. Okay, Mac, what's negative 2 times that parenthesis? What do you get?
Negative 2n and negative 12.
Very good. Nice job. Okay. All right. Can we combine? Zamir, can we combine like terms here? No. Can we combine like terms here? No. So we're ready to solve now. Correct? And I like to do the variables first. So, Gavin, what would I do? What would you do here to solve this?
Combine 8n and negative 2n. So you add,
No, we're not combining. We've already done that. We're going to do properties of equality. Now we're going to start solving. So you want to get that over there, which you're going to combine. I agree. So how am I going to get that negative 2n over here?
add to
Very good. There you go. And then now we're going to combine, right? Correct? So what's 8n plus 2n give me, Gavin? Very good. Okay? Emiliano, what am I going to do next? Subtract 80. Probably going to use your calculator for this, right? Check my work, see if you negative 92 is correct. Is that correct? I'm at negative 12 and I go down negative 80, it's going to get colder, isn't it? Correct? And then what am I going to do next, Caleb?
Divide by 2.
Very good. So in your calculator, what do you get as a decimal for that one? Negative 9.2. And then hit math fraction and tell me what you get.
Negative 46.
Over 5. It's reduced now. These two are equivalent. They just reduced it. Do you guys see that they divided top and bottom by 2? 2 goes into 92 times 46, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. They reduced it, didn't they? Correct? Either answer. Why can I write it as a decimal and a fraction? Because that's a terminating decimal. Okay, look at G. Okay, so what do we have to do first on this one here? Colton, what do we have to do first on G?
Distribute.
Very good. So when I distribute here, what's that give me?
2y and -8
Okay, what's negative 2 times positive y?
of negative 2y.
There you go. And then what's negative times a negative?
A positive.
A positive, correct? Let me give you a little hint. When you multiply or divide, even amount of negatives give you a positive. So I have 2 negatives will give me a positive. So this is what we have. And then we can combine on the other side, can't we? So what's, Aaliyah, what's 3y plus 4y give me?
That'd be 7y.
Yeah, very good. And can we do any more simplifying? Kevon, is there any simplifying I can do on this side?
8 and 9.
Yeah, I can add those two together, can't I? What's that give me?
17.
17. Agreed? Correct? Now, can we combine like terms here on either side? Nope, now we're ready to solve, aren't we? So, Morgan, what are we going to do here to solve this?
Subtract 2y.
What sign is it?
Add.
There you go. We're going to do the opposite, aren't we? So we're doing addition property of equality now. Cancel, cancel. That gives me 9y minus 10 equals 17. And then, Caden, what are we going to do next?
You're gonna add 10.
Very good. Add 10. So it gives me 9y equals 27. And then what are we going to do next here, Callie?
Divide by 9.
Divide by 9. So what's y equal to?
3.
3. box in your answer. Okay? All right, look at H. H. So we have some fractions, don't we? How many fractions do we have? 1. So when you have one fraction, you're going to multiply everything by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2. Here, 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 and here. Okay, so what's 2 times a half give me? What's half of 2? 1. So does everybody agree with me? I just end up with this right here. What's 2 times negative 7? Negative 14, is that right? What's 2 times 6n? 12n, and what's 2 times 8? 16. Okay, can I combine any like terms over here? No, what about over here? Now somebody says, well, you got parentheses there. Well, there's a minus sign, so I can combine the 4 and the negative 14, right? Because I'm not multiplying. So what's 4 minus 14 give me? Negative 10, correct? When I combine those two together. Okay? All right, now. What do I do next? I'm going to subtract 12 in. I like to get the ends on the left side. That's just me. So now I'm doing subtraction property of equality, right? Because I'm subtracting the same thing to both sides. So what's 3 minus 12? It's 3, positive 3 outside, and you take away 12. What am I going to be at? Everybody agree with me? Negative 9? Okay, then what are we going to do next here? We've got all the variables over here, so Mac, what are we going to do next?
Add 10.
Very good. Nice job. Okay, so that gives me negative 9n equals 26. And then what will I do next on this one here, Ash? Divide by what? Negative 9, right? So right now I have negative 26 over 9. Take 26 divided by 9 in your calculator, what do you get? Is it repeating? Okay, so then hit math fraction, see if it will reduce. It doesn't reduce, does it? So that's the answer. You can't write as a decimal because it doesn't terminate. Okay? Okay, stand up. Take a little break here. You need to go to the bathroom. 14, rate of change. So, let me give you some examples of rates of change. She earns $4 per hour. That's a rate of change. Her account loses $50 each day. She completes 2 assignments per day. They have 75 euros per day. Those are all rates of change. She has $60 in her account and earns $4 every hour. So that would be 60 plus $4 an hour. So she started out with $60. She worked 5 hours. What's 4 times 5? 20 plus 60. So how much money does she have now? $80. Everybody see how that works? Correct? So she works 10 hours. So 60 plus 4 times 10 is 40, right? Plus 60. Now she has $100, doesn't she? Okay. Her account loses $50 each day, but she starts with 600. So it'd be 600 minus 50x, where x stands for the money losing. When 2 or more things are said to be the same, it means they are like. Okay, so container A. Container A and container B have leaks. Container A has 800 milliliters of water, plus is leaking 6 milliliters per hour. So that's going to be, instead of plus, it's going to be minus 6x. X is the amount of water it's losing. So 8 is losing 6 milliliters per minute, correct? So in 5 minutes, you've lost 30 milliliters, correct? Subtracted from the 800. Does that make sense? Container B starts out with 1,000 milliliters and is leaking 10 milliliters per minute. So they said to use K for minutes. I'm going to use X, okay? They want to know when they have the same amount of water. So what are we going to do to these two expressions? Set them what? Equal to each other, correct? So take 800 minus 6x equals 1,000 minus 10x. Okay? So can we simplify either side? No. So now we're ready to solve, aren't we? Okay? So, Kate, what would you do to solve this?
Plus
10x. I would do the same thing. So I'm going to add 10. I like to get my x's all on the left side. Those cancel, and that gives me 800. Negative 6 plus 10 would be positive 4x, right? Okay? And then, Ava, what are we going to do next here?
I don't exactly.
Okay, we've got the variables over here. Now we need to get the numbers over here. So which one will we get rid of?
800. Minus 800.
There you go. So you knew what you were doing. Nice job. So that cancel. That gives me 4x equals 1,000 minus 800 is 200, correct? Agreed? And then what am I going to do now, Gavin? Divide by 4. So x equals 50. What's 50 represent? 50 what? Your question will always tell you what the variable stands for. How many what? Minutes. So this is 50 minutes. After 50 minutes, they will have the same amount of water in them. Let's check it. I'm going to do it in my head here. Just watch me. So what's 6 times 50? What's 6 times 5? 30, add a 0. So that would be 300, wouldn't it? So 800 minus 300 would be 500, wouldn't it? Then 50 here. What's 10 times 50? 500. What's 1,000 minus 500? So it works, doesn't it? So after 50 minutes, they're both going to have how many milliliters of water? 500 milliliters of water, correct? Agreed? Check. If I put 50 in there, what's 6 times 50? 300. What's 800 minus 300? 500. Does that make sense? Okay, turn the page, please. Okay, it says, Tim is choosing between 2 cell phone plans. The same amount of free minutes. Singular's plan, singular. Okay, who in here has singular? Raise your hand. Anybody have singular? Who has Verizon? Well, a lot of you have Verizon, right? Who has AT&T? Correct? It's expensive, I'm telling you. Having a cell phone is expensive, isn't it? But they all do this to you. Singular's plan is $39.99 a month. And then you have additional minutes, right? So you're going to multiply every additional minute by 45 cents. Does that make sense? That's your rate of change right there. For every additional minute, they're going to add 45 cents to your bill. Okay? Verizon says cost 44, so it's more up front, isn't it? Correct? And it costs 40 cents a minute. There's the rate of change, 40 cents a minute. Okay, so if you have 10 minutes over, you've got to add $4 to your bill, correct? All right, now they want to know how many minutes A. Now I used X. You could put A there if you wanted to. It will take for the two plans to be the same. So we're going to set them equal to each other, aren't we? Correct? They want to know when they're the same. Okay? So we want to get all the X's on the left side, so we're going to subtract 0.40X, correct? So it gives me 39.99 plus 0.05X. Those cancel, equals 44.99. And then now we're going to subtract 39.99. So like I'm going to move over here. Those cancel, so that leaves me 0.05X equals what, $5? Is that correct? 44.99 minus 39.99. Is that correct? And then I divide by 0.05. Help me out on your calculator. Take 5 divided by 0.05 and tell me what you get. What do you get? 100. So those two cell phone plans will be equal after 100 minutes. Now, after 100 minutes, which one, if you know that you're going to have more than 100 minutes a month, which probably many of us do, which one's going to be the better plan?
Right.
Verizon, because the cost is cheaper after that, correct? Then it's only 40 cents a minute, correct? So they're equal after 100 minutes. After 100 minutes, and you know you're going to spend more than 100 minutes, then you want to go to Verizon. Agreed? But if you're one of those people that don't talk on the phone much, then you want to go with which plan? Singular. Okay? Okay. All right, let's go to A here. Can we combine any like terms here? We can combine these two, can't we? What does that give me? 2x? Is that correct? And then, Kevin, what do I need to do on the right side?
Probably need to do distributive.
Yep. And what does that give me when I distribute?
Negative 8x and negative 4.
And then I bring my 12 down. Can I simplify on the left side? Are there any like terms over here? Are there? I don't think so. Can I combine anything on the right side? Kevon, is there anything I can combine?
Negative 4.
Very good. What does that give me? Negative 16, correct? Agreed? And then I like to get, you know me, I like to get my X's on the left side. Cancel, cancel. Now I'm going to get my numbers on the right side. So what am I going to do next? Samaya, what am I going to do next? Samia?
We're gonna add 18 to both sides.
What sign is it?
Oh, subtract.
There you go. I knew you knew. And then, James, what am I going to do next?
You divide by 10.
Divide by 10, correct? What does that give me as a decimal? Watch. Without using your calculator. The decimal's right here, right now, right? You divide by 10, just move it one place to the left, so we know it's going to be negative 3.4. Correct? Everybody say I did that? If you divide by 100, you'll move it 2 places to the left. You divide by 1,000, 3 places to the left. Okay, this next one here, B. I have 1/2 times n minus 4 minus 7 equals negative 2n plus 6. Okay, I got a fraction, don't I? So what am I going to do here?
Multiply everything by 2.
Multiply everything by 2, correct? Everything. Here, 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 and here. This looks like one we've already done, isn't it? Have we already done one like this? I thought we did. Looks like the same one we've already done. No, it's different. Okay. So what's 2 times a half give me? What's half of 2? 1. So that's just going to leave me n minus 4, isn't it? Correct? And I bring my minus 7 down. That's wrong, isn't it? This should be what? 14. This should be what? Negative 4n plus 12, correct? Because I got to multiply everything by 2, don't I? Sorry about that. Agreed? Can I combine any like terms here on the left side? These two, because there's, when it's not right next to the parentheses, there's a minus sign, and I'm just subtracting. So that would give me n minus 18, wouldn't it? Negative 4 minus 14. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to add 4n to both sides. Cancel, cancel. I got 1 nickel, and you add 4 of them. How many nickels do I have? 5, don't I? Correct? Then I'm going to add 18 to both sides. So I get 5n equals 30. And then what am I going to do last? Zamir, what am I going to do last here? Very good. Nice job. Yep. So n is 6. All right, turn the page. Okay, this time, my answer key, I was looking for that. I don't know where that went to. Okay, so this one here, we have 1/5 times d plus 2 plus 5 equals 1/4 times 2 minus d plus 2. Okay? This time we have 2 fractions, don't we? Correct? So if we were going to add these 2 fractions, what would be the common denominator? Caleb?
I would say we could times like 5 times 4.
Exactly, which is what? 20. So I'm going to multiply everything by 20. Agreed? 20. Multiply here, 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 and here. Those 4 places. Okay, did I show you the trick on multiplying an integer times a fraction? What's 20 times 1? Divided by 5. 4. That'll look a little easier. Watch again. I could do it 2 ways. I could take 5 and divide it into 20, which is what? 4, and then multiply times 1. Or I can take 20 times 1 divided by 5. It'll work either way. Does everybody see that?